What's that?
Some kind of feedback.
We are about 10 lines from the top. The line begins with the word Shalah. We discussed quite extensively the principle of Ha'ora. Where is this from? A Ha'ora, we have to be able to understand in Ha'ora two quite opposite principles. On the one hand, it is not the real thing. On the other hand, it is a Ha'ora of the real thing. It is a representative of the real thing. The entire Seder Hishtalshelus, and where does this Ha'ora element manifest itself? In the fact that wherever this Ha'ora comes, Begili, his pastus, there is a limit how far it extends. In other words, as we said, the Rebbe explains it that the Ha'ora does not. Everything comes from the mighty, and that's its origin. The Ha'ora extends whatever length it extends, but at the end, at the bottom, it is just a mitzias. It is not. It is not. Does not connect to the makif. We discussed with various examples of it that at the end it becomes it is completely mislabish. It becomes part and parcel of the keli to which it manifests itself. Like we said, loy signoiv, it becomes part of the keli loy signoiv. There is not the ultimate meaning of loy signoiv as it is in its original state.
Is that to say the Ha'ara is just concealed there, or it's completely lost? Did the Ha'ara...
No. It is completely lost in the sense that it is lost in the hislapshus. It becomes. The principle of Ha'ara is that it illuminates some other presence and becomes part of that presence. We were talking all the time, all the way to the top, because it's all one thing, but there are many intervening levels. All the way at the bottom, it is that there are two entities, and one should not intrude with the other. It's also part of the Ha'ara. Even the principle that even the principle that this Indian exists at the animal level. Like we say, the lion has his turf. It is also representative of the ultimate source, of the ultimate truth of this Ha'ara. Because each creature has its right to be. But it does not represent, it does not reflect the truth behind it. Because this Ha'ara is mislavish in the entity itself. I'm always thinking of this principle. Perhaps, and this is a good time to. We say that human life is of real significance. The human being is aware not only of his existence, of his life, but the entire environment in which he lives. And this is what keeps him going. This is what the significance of his life is. The an animal does not have that perception. And yet, an animal will fight to protect itself. If it does not have a sense of life beyond its existence, we don't see a rock fighting back that he shouldn't break it out of the mountain. An animal runs away, no matter what low level of the animal is. It runs away from when it's being attacked, when it is suspected of being attacked. Because the animal, in its limited being, where it has virtually no sense of the reality in which it exists. Nevertheless, in its own mitzias, there is a ha'ora of the real thing, and therefore it actually runs away, protects itself, because there is a Gandhi reality in everything that's created. But this is only ha'ora of the reality, because reality is only that which actually it is pashtus of godliness. This is only a mitzias. But in the mitzias there is also a reflection of the fact of the significance of where it's coming from.
That's without the order, or that's without the order, or that's without the mitzias?
No, the mitzias is illuminated by this ha'ora lakis. This is what gives it a sense of reality.
So is that true for any case, that the degree to which the source is reflected is dependent on the malbish of the order?
Yeah. Each one of these are the degrees to which it represents the Ha'or Elikis.
In the material.
Huh?
In the material
itself. Nothing made itself. There's a Ha'or Elikis in each, and that's why it has significance. If it made itself, it wouldn't care an instant beyond its mitzias. I'm here, I'm not here. What's the big difference? There's no deeper presence than the moment. The human being has a completely different perception. He is a neighbor of the king. The whole world is his. And his life incorporates this principle. Like I mentioned the other day, that this soldier being stabbed, and he screamed down, Gazel, Ritzayach. I have a wife and children at home. He's bigger than you think. You're fighting this entity here. Do you know who you know what you're doing? That's exclusive in you.
Does that mean that the ha'ara is not fully mislamish in the human? In other words, when you...
Right, that's right. The human has seichel, he perceives beyond the Islamishness. Exactly right. And this is the big fallacy of the human, of the interpretation of the human being, the human psychology, that all it is this ha'ara. The psychologist will tell you that your whole confusion in your mind is the reaction, it's a ha'ara. What's happening with you? There is no reality that you're concerned about. What happened when you were 2 years old? What happened to you 3 years old? What happened to you 5 years old? It could be more blind, more in the dark than this. All right, so as you said, B on the line begins with Shalom. It's more than 10 lines, and I can't count that much. So, at a glance, from top of Memtes.
11 lines.
11 lines. V'nimtzu moving because thus it comes out that from all of this discussion that we had, we understand the hahamshach, or the seder hishtalshelus, that which is in shechnel kolakus in seder hishtalshelus, who bechinas ha'ora levat, is only the aspect of a ha'ora, and this is why it has all these various qualities that we identified, all the way to the point that it has a hagbola, it ends at some point. Well, his was on shomes, but the neshomes, the coming to being of the neshomes, agam shezehu mibchinas yichud zun, although that this represents the bechina, the aspect of yichud zun. Yichud zun, in simple terms, yichud zun refers to yichud of Zoh, the 6 spheres, or malchus with malchus. Shenikro, which is referred to, identified as zivu gufni. This is a zivu gufni. Zivu gufni means, in contrast, is the only way to understand it. In contrast to zivu gruchni, like we have in Chochmah and Bina, that how does Bina relate to Chochmah? It relates to Chochmah by virtue of the fact that it understands Chochmah. It actually senses what the Chochmah is. It is not a mere receptacle. Zivu gufni is just that. It's a mere receptacle. But it's a zivuk. It's a real joining of two distinct levels of what's called mashpia and makabel. In zivuk ruchni, the bina, when it is sensitive and it accepts the chokhmah, it actually accepts the chokhmah at the chokhmah level. It senses what chokhmah is. You could almost say that bina at that moment becomes like chokhmah. Bina is illuminated by the oil hachokhmah. This is why we always say Chochmah Bina. This is the the king and queen of the homes in the whole reality. It is beyond the reality. It is a mashpia. Both of them are a mashpia. And they both represent together the supreme truth. They don't represent themselves. Bina doesn't represent itself. It understands on the lower level, excuse me, the Chochmah principle. And all of the understanding of Bina is contained within the background of Chochmah. What gives that idea some kind of verity, some kind of a presence? It is because it's part of Chochmah. Bishop said Bina, Chochmah. Like we understand what is the reality of a table. Only the general perception that there has to be a home, there has to be a place of residence. A table, as real as it is, it does not have reality outside of the home, outside of the encompassing principle, which we spoke about many times. This is Chochmah Bina.
Sorry, Chochmah Bina is Yichud Zum?
No, Chochmah Bina is Yichud Avo.
Yeah. So, sorry, how did Chochmah Bina come in? We said here that Sham is... I missed it.
It said Yichud Zum is Zeu Zivug Gufni.
Yeah.
To understand Zivug Gufni, I went back to Chochmah Bina to point out what Zivug Ruchni represents. In contrast to that, we'll understand what Zivug Gufni is. You having difficulty with this?
No, I just lost the thread. Sorry. Zivug Ruchni, you bring out the Maila of Zivug Ruchni, that they're both representing the...
I'm not bringing any minus. I'm just contrasting them.
You said earlier Zivug Gava, Zivug Ruchni, Zivug Zum.
Right. And then the whole conversation about Chochmah and Bina was
Just
going
to
on...
understand what is unique, what is different in Zivug Ruchni. You know, Zivug Ruchni, I'm sorry, I must have jumped too far.
No, I think I was spaced out.
I jumped because this is something
Sorry.
which we discussed.
No, it's not.
Right. The Zivug Avo is a higher Zivug, but it's only a Zivug Ruchni. And this is the whole discussion. A Zivug Ruchni is a phenomenal madrega, and brings out the Ruchnis of the true principle of the high madrega. But what comes out of it is only a ha'ora. There is not a real presence as a result of this zivug. Zivug Zum, although this is a zivug gufni, which means it's a lower type of zivug, and therefore it's a lower, the result of this zivug should be on the lower level, and it is on the lower level. It's a gufni. So, in order to understand the gufni, I went back to understand a little bit the nuance of zivug ruchni. That even though there's two in until there's chochmah and bina, and there's a zivug, but the zivug between them is what's called a zivug pnimi, because bina really understands the chochmah. It is not that the chochmah simply superimposes itself on the bina. This is how it is in Zivug Ruchni. Just like we say in Seichel, you cannot superimpose a Seichel on somebody who does on somebody else. You can only help him understand using his own Seichel. He understands your Seichel directly. You can help him understand it. You can reveal it to him, but he understands with his own Seichel. That's Zivug Ruchni. Zivug Ruchni actually creates a new entity, as we're going to see now. So this is Zivug Zun, and Zivug Gufni. And Zivug Gufni is a lower level than Zivug Ruchni. And essentially, as we explained that in Zivug Ruchni, the upper Madrege permeates through and through in the lower Madrege. It's a real Zivug. Whereas Zivug Gufni, they're two separate Gufim. They don't unite in the same manner as Zivug Ruchni. The lower level does not become the upper level. Hine. However, on the other hand, Ha'amshocho, the Hamshocho, that which comes to be drawn, Mibchinus Yichud Zivug Zeh, what is Nimshach in the Yichud, in the union of this Zivug, Ho Bechinas Hashpoa Pnimis V'Yatzmis. It's an aspect, it's called Hashpoa Pnimis V'Yatzmis. In terms of the Zivug itself, Zivug Ruchni is more thorough than Zivug Gufni. Like we say, if he must be a Seichel, then the Talmud understands the Seichel on his own. He becomes this Seichel. As far as this is Zivug Ruchni. So in terms of the Zivug, this is more Pnimi, more Atzmi. The union is more permeated. To the point we say that Chochma and Bina is called trained in the Misparshim. These are two friends that never separate. Because one permeates the other. Zivug Gufni, in terms of the Zivug, it's a Chitzeni Zivug. But the Hamshocha that comes out as a result is Hamshocha Pnimis V'Yatzmis. Again, we seem to be going a little bit in circles, so we have to take a little time and to focus in and understand the difference between the Zivug itself, Pnimiyah Chitzayin, and the Hamshocha that comes from it. In order to understand the Hamshocha, we have to understand where does this Hamshocha come from. what we were saying till now in the Ha'ora, in the Zivug Ruchni. We'll now won't be able to finish today, but I just want to start. Chochmah, this represents, in Chochmah, we sense, so to speak, the godly truth. And we pointed out that where is this godly truth? Where does Chochmah get this sense of godly truth? This is from the high Madrige, from Oineg and Rotz. But there's a difference between the Oineg and Chochmah. Chochmah is purely observing it. It's not an atzma. Oineg and Rotz has the etzem in the Torah. Therefore, when it comes to this zivug, chokhmah being, what is the mahus? What initiates this zivug? As we spoke many times, the initial, that's the real Metzias. What initiates this? The oil ha-chokhmah, it was initiated. Look what I know, look what I understand. And therefore, since that is what that was initiated, this is the only thing that transmits. The awareness, the observation that Chokhmah has, not its essence. Where does it get it from? In Zivug Gufni, there is not that impetus. Look what I know. I want you to know. This is not what Zivug Gufni is. Zivug Gufni is actually motivated by the source of the Zivug Gufni, but the reality that's in it. You could say that it is also the Oineg that initiates Zivug Gufni, not the Koyach itself. And this is why, so it's from the perspective of the participants, two separate groups. There isn't a real zibuk. But and they're not even the ones who initiate it. But the hamshocha that comes as a result is from the initiator of the zibuk, which is the real Metzias. Pnimi v'yatzma. This is it for this morning. Food for thought.
Kiva, sorry, this Friday and next Friday I have jury duty and they let me off. It'll be 2 hours before Shabbos starts. I'm not going to be able to do the job.
I'll call you.